Welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and municipal news, and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. Your hosts, Emily Springstrow of Oshkosh Media and Assistant City Manager, John Fitzpatrick.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on your City Manager's Report, your source for all of the most local and recent news and updates in your city of Oshkosh. I'm your host, Emily Springstrow, joined by your Assistant City Manager, John Fitzpatrick, who is sitting in for City Manager Mark Roloff today. So, John, without further ado, welcome and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Emily. It's always good to be here.
Yes, it's great to have you. We've got a lot to talk about on the agenda, but the first half of the show, we're going to do our usual hot topics and talk about some of the recent news that people are talking about here in Oshkosh. Then we'll take a little break and then return with the review of the upcoming City Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, October 25th, 2016.
Sounds good.
So, John, first item that we want to mention here is the budget workshops. Mm-hmm. You guys were pretty busy earlier this week with those long meetings.
Right, yes.
So how'd they go?
I think they went pretty well. We had them Monday and Tuesday, and the council changed the format up. Mm-hmm. And so we're doing it during the day now. And it's very, I think, informal, and I think that really helps provide for more dialogue and more education. Mm-hmm. So there's a series of times when each department has the opportunity to talk about what's in their operating budget. And we're also kind of combining that now, not only our operating budget, but the capital improvement program. Mm-hmm. So we talk about those together. So it saves a little time, and I think it meshes a little bit better for the council members too, even though they're two separate projects. One's operating, mm-hmm. and one is for all the capital expenditures.
It kind of makes a nice connection for those departments, you know?
Does.
So, while they have the council there at the table, have their attention, they're kind of hitting every point.
And I think it gives them a picture of everything that they're working on, as well as what they need to fund all those projects, mm-hmm. operationally, and then from a capital perspective too. So yes. I think it's a good improvement.
And you mentioned it's an informal process, which is nice. It's a great opportunity. They're not in the council chambers. They're just around a table. It's a good opportunity for council members to ask questions.
Yes.
So it's not simply a presentation where they're presenting this to them without any chance for feedback. It's a great conversation to have.
Right. And as a credit to City Manager Roloff and Finance Director Larson, we've had a series of preparatory budget workshops to get to this point. So I think the council members feel more comfortable, and certainly they call us anytime they want to outside of those meetings, but I think they want to provide an opportunity too for the citizens to see some of the questions that they may have and try to provide information that way too.
Definitely. And we did cover that on GovTV, so if you didn't get a chance to tune in on, I believe it was Monday and Tuesday, you can go on our YouTube channel or visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org and see the replays of those budget meetings. Next item that we wanted to talk about, John, is the absentee voting is going on right now. Mm-hmm. There are people outside our studio that are waiting in line to place their votes.
Right.
So
yes.
it's a great opportunity. I think we actually moved the absentee voting up a little earlier this year.
We did.
So people have the opportunity to come in, take advantage of that. If you are coming in and doing your absentee voting, don't forget an ID. And make sure you budget a little bit of time. Sometimes there's a little bit of a line. Other times it just kind of ebbs and flows. So it's not going to be, don't count on there not being any wait time, but it's usually it moves along pretty quick.
It does, yes. And I'm really encouraged by all the folks who have turned out so far. There's really been a great turnout. There's been a lot of citizen participation this cycle with the presidential election and some other important elections. So
we got to give a shout out to the clerk's department. They worked very hard throughout this whole season.
A lot of hours, not only here, but when they had some voting opportunity when it was at the convention center as well, to try to give folks an opportunity to come and vote when it's most convenient for them.
Right. So this week, absentee voting was taking place at City Hall from 8 to 4:30. If you're watching this on Thursday, we've got one more day on Friday to vote at City Hall. Otherwise, next week they are moving over to the Convention Center. That's going to be October 24th through November 3rd, and they are there 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. on weekdays, and then on the 4th they are there until 5 p.m. So come out to the Convention Center, bring a photo ID, and take advantage of that. Otherwise, of course, we got to encourage people to get out there and vote on Election Day, which leads us to my next little item that we wanted to give a little bit of promotion to, and that is the fact that city cabs are going to be providing free rides to people who are using wheelchairs on Election Day. It's a great opportunity, and it's just a really nice resource, and we're so appreciative to Cabulance for doing that.
It really is. I think that sometimes people just don't realize some of the challenges that folks may have getting to wherever they need to go to, especially a circumstance like this for an election. So it's a really nice gesture, I think, by Cabulance to provide this opportunity for people so they can get out and exercise their right to vote.
So if you do use a wheelchair and you need a ride to the polls, make sure you call before November 1st to schedule your ride. It's pretty difficult if you call on Election Day. So call 920-426-3900. They'll take you to the polling place, and they will wait there for you until you're done voting and then take you home. So wonderful. Thank you to City Cab for providing that. And then, John, one other update that we just wanted to give our viewers. This is the last episode of City Manager's Report before Halloween. I know you've already got your costume picked out and are ready for trick-or-treating.
Well, sometimes people can't ever tell the difference.
So we definitely want to get
in my case only.
Just in your case.
Right.
No worries. We want to get the trick-or-treat hours out there. Since it is on a weekday, on Monday, the trick-or-treat hours are going to be October 31st from 5 to 7 p.m. It does make a difference whether it's on a weekend. I think the timing is a little bit, I think it might be from 4 to 7 p.m. or 4 to 8, 5 to 8 on a weekend. But since it's a Monday, 5 to 7 p.m., make sure you are being aware of your surroundings, not letting your kids run out into the streets.
Right.
Just be safe out there and
it can
be
get
aware.
pretty busy, and sometimes, I think back in the old days when my kids were trick-or-treating, I think some of the masks and some of the things were, it was difficult for people to see, but I think they've made a lot of improvements and people are more aware of those issues now. I think one thing that's important too is for people to try to make sure that their children are trick-or-treating in an area that they're familiar with. So that's helpful too.
Because they have a tendency to run off and run ahead to the next house.
Yes, right. And all of the public service announcements that are provided to the citizenry too about checking their candy and making sure that they're aware of where they are and what they're doing. It's always good advice.
And those of you who are not trick-or-treating or partaking in that, if you're driving around on Monday night, just to be aware that that's going on. So again, Monday, October 31st, 5 to 7 p.m., enjoy your trick-or-treating. We're about halfway through the show now, John. We're going to take a little break, and when we return, we will hit the City Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, October 25th. We'll be right back on City Manager's Report.
I'm going to bring it.
Bring it.
Raila.
Bring it.
We are going to bring it.
Bring it.
This election.
This election,
This election, I'm going to bring it.
I'm going to bring it.
Bring it.
Bring it to the ballot.
Bring it to the ballot.
Now you need to show a photo ID, like a Wisconsin driver license, passport, or Wisconsin state ID card, before casting your ballot in the next election. Find out whether your ID will work at bringit.wisconsin.gov. And don't forget to bring your ID to the ballot.
Hold it! Huh? Before you move a finger, stop, think, connect.
Stop. Before you click on a link, open an attachment, or reveal personal information online.
Think. Do all of my devices have active and up-to-date security settings?
Then connect, knowing you're helping make the web safer for you
and for everyone. Make Stop, Think, Connect part of your daily online routine.
It is sad but true that for years, some people have been using storm drains to dispose of their wastes.
sanitary sewers take waste from bathrooms and kitchens and clean them up. But storm sewers do not treat or clean up anything passing through them. Everything that enters a storm drainage system is eventually discharged into a stream, river, lake, or bay in exactly the same form as it entered. One of the responsibilities of municipalities that operate storm sewer systems is to prevent what the EPA calls illicit discharges. Illicit discharges are any discharges of non-stormwater into or through the storm sewer. When illicit discharges enter surface waters, they can kill wildlife. They can suffocate plants and fish, destroy breeding and nesting areas. Never pour or dump anything down any storm drain.
Hello everyone, and thank you again for joining us on your City Manager's Report. We're in the second half of the show, and now I have our Assistant City Manager, John Fitzpatrick, and he is going to go through the upcoming City Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, October 25th, 2016. So, John, let's go ahead and hit some of the highlights that we've planned out for the show today.
Okay.
First one being a presentation that's going to be taking place at the beginning of the meeting, and that is the Rotary Clubs of Oshkosh presentation of donation for Little Oshkosh renovation. Tell us about that.
Sure. I can maybe step back a little bit. I think for people that have lived in Oshkosh for a little while, they're familiar with Little Oshkosh. Mm-hmm. It's a feature of Menominee Park that is very unique. It's a playground, and it looks like we have some video of that. Mm-hmm. And
it's adorable.
It really is. It was when it was first constructed, it was a real labor of love by the community. It was a citizen engagement project that our Parks Director at the time, Tom Stefani, brought forward. And we had all kinds of community partners that donated time and effort to constructing Little Oshkosh. And it's been showcased not only here, but in a lot of different places around the Midwest. So we're very proud of it, but it's getting a little worn. It's been here for a little while now, and although we do routine maintenance to it, I think the community would like to see us update it a little bit. Mm-hmm. So,
which costs a little bit of money.
It does. It certainly does. And so, fortunately, the Rotary clubs kind of took this challenge on, and they're in the process of raising money for this project. If people might remember, this past summer they held a fundraiser called Rib Fest at Menominee Park. I think you mentioned to me you were there. I was there.
It was wonderful.
I ate some ribs. It was good. And they made a little bit of money from that effort. And what they've done is they've set up a fund at the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation for donations to be established. And they, in conjunction with the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation, I think, are going to be present at the meeting and present the city with an initial donation toward this project. So
that's wonderful.
It is.
And the Rotary clubs, they work so hard for projects like this. So
they do.
It's great to see that. However, it's a great donation, but there's still a lot of money to be donated, which is why we have the foundation's website up right now.
There are, yes. I think the estimate for the total project is probably about $400,000. And although it's a good start, and we have some money budgeted here at the city for it, there's a lot more money that certainly would be appreciated if it's possible for people to donate.
Yes. So if you're interested in donating, every little bit counts. Visit the community foundations.
Yes.
I think it's oshkoshareacf.org, and you can donate through their website. And if you want to know more about the project, just contact the Parks Department. They've got a lot of great history, or go out there and just check it out and take a look at the project.
Absolutely, yes. They'd be happy to talk to you about it.
After this presentation of the check within the council meeting, John, there is another presentation, a special presentation on the zoning code update by Vanderwall and Associates. And then that is followed by a public hearing, and that's to repeal and recreate Chapter 30 zoning ordinance and zoning map, and that's effective January 1st. Maybe give us a little bit of background on the zoning code update first, and then what this hearing is about.
Sure. It sounds like it's maybe just a boring update to some of our codes and some of our regulations and ordinances for zoning, but really it's it's kind of a reflection of our modernization of our zoning code. And we look at it periodically, but as you know, because I know you've been talking to City Manager Roloff about this when we discuss our strategic plan, there's really been an emphasis placed on the departments and the city city staff to focus on improving our ability to revitalize our neighborhoods, to focus on generating more economic development, to improving the appearance and the aesthetics of some of the locations inside the city, and that's really been a major focus for us. And these updates to the zoning ordinances and our map are designed to reflect that emphasis.
So what kinds of things are we looking at? What kind of issues does this include?
Well, it looks like we have a zoning map, and this is the proposed improvements to the existing zoning that is already in place for the city. So you can see that it's a complex endeavor in terms of trying to classify and set up different areas of the city to incorporate the proper development. For example, you wouldn't want to have some industrial development right next to a residential area. It's just something that's not consistent with the thought of what would be intended in those areas. So the idea behind this is to try to make sure that we have some clear boundaries, to make sure that we communicate this not only to the citizenry, but also provide an opportunity for development to take place. If people know what areas are designed, then they can better plan to move forward with whether it's their own development or whether it's a prospective developer that wants to come to the community, and kind of establish what the parameters of the zoning would be for all those interested parties.
And as we were prepping for the show today, you said it evolves. That's
right.
The whole point of the update, that this plan does evolve and the needs evolve throughout the years. So it's important to have these updates and to give background on those.
Absolutely, absolutely. There are a lot of great things that are going on in Oshkosh, and it seems like it might be just a boring update, but it really is a reflection of the progressive nature of the council, of what the citizens would like to see, and it's exciting for the staff to work on these projects.
Yes, well, thank you for the background on that. We look forward to seeing the presentation at the council meeting as well. Next item that we want to talk about, John, under the consent agenda is regarding the revenue bond financing for the Payne Art Center and Gardens project. And this is another one that you might say sounds a little bit like a boring city update, but maybe you can give us some background on what exactly that is.
Sure. This really is a way for us to provide an opportunity to a community partner to allow them to do some bonding and take advantage of a program for industrial revenue bonds. It's really a financing mechanism, and we've done this before with other community partners, like, for example, UW Oshkosh. So it's really a vehicle for them at no risk to the city.
That was going to be my next question.
Right. It's no risk to the city, but it provides a vehicle for them to secure bonding at a lesser rate so they can improve projects and maybe do more with the project than they ordinarily would have been able to.
Wonderful.
So it's a benefit to them, it's a benefit to the community because they can enhance their initiatives that were planned previously.
Yes, and we love to see things about the Payne Art Center because we just have a great relationship with them.
Right.
And,
They're a good partner.
A great thing in the community here in Oshkosh. Next item right after that is redemption of certain outstanding bonds of the City of Oshkosh for Winnebago County, Wisconsin, and related matters. And this is dealing with TID number 20, which is a big topic of discussion at a lot of meetings lately.
It is. There are always people that are interested in what's going on with our TIDs and we use acronyms a lot, inside the organization, and that stands for Tax Incremental District. And it's really a connectivity to some of the TIF, the tax incremental financing activity that we take, that we undertake in terms of trying to redevelop areas of the community. So this is a pretty basic thing. It really is a way for us to pay off the rates. It's to put it in terms that people are more familiar with in their own, for their own financial analysis. It's more like, why would you pay interest if you have the cash? And we have the cash. So the idea is to redeem these.
Well, it's good. It's
Yes.
good to hear that we're getting that out of the way and
Right.
not creating any more cost for ourselves.
Right.
So that's a great item. Right after that, again, we have approving the accepting dedication of street right-of-way, 2510 West 9th Avenue. And this is kind of an interesting one. I read this, and then I had no idea what you were talking about, and you explained it to me. It's actually pretty interesting. Tell us about that.
It is, and I have a lot of people that ask me if you're driving on 9th Avenue and you're going towards Oakwood, towards the hospital, there's a parcel of land that's right on the corner there of West Haven and 9th. Looks like we have a map of that. And I have a lot of people come up to me and say, hey, what's being built there? And it's actually an eye clinic. Dr. Marsh, I think people are familiar with this practice. He's been downtown for quite some time. He's developing a clinic here on 9th and West Haven. So the project is moving forward, and because it's on an intersection, on a corner, what we often do is work with businesses that happen to be there so we can put in the proper signalization, the proper curb cuts for maybe wheelchair access, for sidewalks. And so what happens is those businesses oftentimes dedicate, it's another word for kind of donating that right away so we can put all the proper accoutrements in that are necessary for not only their business, but for the citizenry that access that business. So
Wonderful. Well, it's an interesting kind of behind-the-scenes look at what goes on when those new properties are built.
Right.
So, yeah, wonderful. We want to just give a quick, brief little plug for an event coming up. That is the Special Olympics Wisconsin Fox Valley for the polar plunge, freezing for a reason.
Yes, right.
Are
Yeah.
you participating this year, John?
I'm not going to be participating.
I will not either.
I'm
We're babies.
well, I don't want to scare anybody, certainly, if I'm out there.
And we have some awesome photos and video that we just have to preview. It's so funny to see all the people that participate in this every
Right.
year for a great cause.
Right, but that doesn't mean it's not a fantastic initiative. And these folks are much braver than I am to be able to go out there and participate and raise money for Special Olympics. It's a fantastic cause. And it looks like those are some of our police
I think you see Chief right there in the
employees.
middle.
Yeah, it looks like
that looks like before
Chief
the jump.
Smith.
They look pretty happy
right,
there.
Exactly. Yes. So
Well, it's a great event, and the reason it's on the agenda is because it is a special event, so it needs to be approved for the use of Menominee Park and city streets for
Right.
that. So we had to give a little plug to that. I know it's kind of scary to think about the fact that it's going to be getting cold, but all these wonderful events associated with that weather are just great in Oshkosh.
it won't be long. It's pretty nice out there today, but you're right. It is going to get colder.
It's coming.
Right.
Next item under new resolutions, John, is approving a cooperative agreement between the state of Wisconsin, Department of Transportation, and the Oshkosh Metropolitan Planning Organization and Go Transit. It's a lot of people working together here. Tell us a little bit of background of what exactly this item is.
Well, and I'm glad that you introduced it that way because really it is a group of people that are working together to try to actually do the appropriate amount of planning that's necessary for our transportation infrastructure. And what this really means is it's an agreement by these parties to acknowledge the idea that we're going to work cooperatively with East Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission for transportation planning. And for people that aren't familiar with that organization, they work cooperatively with municipalities, with counties. They provide planning services to some of the smaller townships and villages that might not have staff available to them, as well as the counties that assist those smaller townships and villages. So by going to an organization like East Central, we can have connectivity with all the plans that they have in place for all those smaller entities and make sure that we're really working in tandem, in concert with all those activities, rather than trying to develop an initiative that's not going to be consistent with what they want to try to accomplish in their jurisdictions. So East Central's a great resource. We work with them on a lot of different projects, and this is just a formalization to let people know that all these groups are going to be working together with East Central on these future transportation projects.
Yes, we love to see the coordination and cooperation between all of the different entities here, and like you said, East Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission, great resource, great group to coordinate that.
It is, and I think, by working together, I think It provides for a better outcome for the citizenry. It provides for a more efficient activity. It diminishes any additional duplication in cost. So it really is a wise strategy, I think, for these partners to work together on this.
Definitely. And then we have one other item on the agenda before we get into future agenda items, and that is the approval of fees for special events that are utilizing park facilities. Can you tell us what exactly these types of fees are going to be for?
Sure. This is related to special events. We were talking about it earlier. When we have larger special events that take up park facilities that otherwise might be available to the citizenry, like for example, people rent park shelters or a variety of different other things. The thought process behind this was they're unavailable to the regular public, and they're unavailable for the rental process to take place. So this is placing the responsibility on the cost because they're kind of absorbing those opportunities for the special event on the special event organizer.
Okay.
So that's really the thought behind it.
It makes sense to
They're kind of paying their fair share.
Exactly.
If we're going to ask others to pay, I think it's even-handed and consistent for us to ask the special event organizers to pay.
Definitely. And so more information about that's going to be coming, should be on the park's website and things like that as this process moves along.
Right.
And we will get a little more background on that at the council meeting as well. And then we got about a minute left here, John, so we're going to get into the future agenda items. There is a budget hearing coming up on November 9th, and Mark and I can give a little more of a preview of that coming up on the next episode of City Manager's Report.
Right.
But maybe kind of give an overview of what a budget hearing is for us.
Well, we need to get our operating budget and capital improvement program approved before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So we're getting close to the point where we're finalizing all those details. I know we have a budget workshop that's scheduled on November 2nd as well.
Yep.
And I think the idea for that is just to finalize those budget discussions that we talked about earlier. I think the first half of that particular budget workshop is designed to finish up some DPW, Department of Public Works capital improvement project discussion, and then the second half is to talk about any adjustments to the operating budget.
So we've not heard the end of the budget yet.
Not yet.
We still got a little ways to go.
We do.
Yes, and both of those, as you saw on the screen, will be broadcast live on GovTV and replayed on our website. So make sure you tune in for those. And then one last update that we wanted to give our viewers today, John, is the fact that the November 9th council meeting is on a Wednesday, not a Tuesday.
It is, and that is because of the election.
So a little something going on the 8th.
That's right, exactly. So we moved that meeting to the 9th in order for people to participate in the election, and we have a lot of staff members that are involved in that as well. So just a reminder.
So keep that in mind, November 9th council meeting, Wednesday, not Tuesday. Make sure you take advantage of that Tuesday and get out there and vote. So without further ado, John, we are just about out of time. So I'm going to have to thank you for joining us today and hope that you can come again soon.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me, Emily.
Again, the City Council meeting is this Tuesday, October 25th. You can watch it live on GovTV or on our website at oshkoshmedia.org, or you can listen to it on 101.9 Oshkosh FM, which is also online and on a TuneIn Radio app for mobile devices. Make sure you like Oshkosh Media on Facebook or follow us on Twitter for every community and government programming update you will ever need, or check out our YouTube channel for government meeting replays and past episodes of your favorite programs. And don't forget, if you have a question for City Manager Mark Roloff, you can email it to us at questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us, or you can send it to us on Facebook, post it on Twitter, and he'll answer it on the next episode of City Manager's Report. So with that, I'd like to thank you all again for watching City Manager's Report, and we'll see you next time.
Most Wisconsin voters already have a photo ID.
If you don't,
you can get a free Wisconsin state ID
before the next election.
To get your free ID, head to the Division of Motor Vehicles
and take a few documents with you.
Proof of your name, date of birth, and U.S. citizenship, like a certified birth certificate. If you don't have a birth certificate or other documents, the DMV can still help you get a free ID for voting. For a complete list of the documents you can use, visit bringit.wisconsin.gov. And don't forget to bring your ID to the ballot.